Two Polish treasure hunters are getting closer to finding a Nazi train believed to be buried in a hillside. The two restarted decades of speculation when they announced that they had located the train in Poland. According to local folklore, the train is loaded with gold, jewels, and weapons and was hidden in a sealed tunnel by Nazi forces as they retreated from the Soviets in 1945. And while we are talking about Poland, small companies that need to raise money have found a new place to look for it. The stock exchanges of emerging markets. Some countries, such as Poland, have launched alternative stock markets to attract startups. And these markets may be replacing the U.S. markets for some venture capital. How so? Jay Morelock from FTN Financial is here to talk about something that most people probably don't realize, but in an environment where startups have trouble finding money, some of these stock markets have taken advantage and created a place for them to trade.
Yep, absolutely. And we take advantage of it here in the United States and take it actually for granted, the whole infrastructure of venture capital that we have here. So we have, the seed investors, the angel investors, series all the way down for startups to raise capital. And in emerging markets, that infrastructure is not there. So setting up these small exchanges in order to raise capital and to get the public involved and to be able to raise capital is a very fortunate thing to get going.
And I was looking at the Warsaw Stock Exchange. It is said to be one of the most aggressive in all of Europe right now. Is this a way for them to attract companies from across the continent into their countries?
I think so, and I think as sort of a beacon of stability in Central Europe, they're going to be used as pulling a lot of, from the Czech Republic and other areas up in the Baltics to bring in a lot of the, emerging sort of startups into this single exchange in order to raise capital from all over the Eurozone.
From what I was looking at, the U.S. used to have these markets with the over-the-counter markets, which still exist, and the pink sheets, which are sort of the penny stocks. But we've increased regulations to a high standard in an effort to obviously to protect investors. Is that giving some opportunity elsewhere as well as some pitfalls?
Yes, I think so. And also our lending to small businesses has been reduced. So what we call sort of micro loans, like any loans above or under 100,000, have actually shrunk a lot actually since the crisis. So I think as banks have been pulled back from lending to small businesses, we've actually stepped up and started to raise equity. And I think it presents opportunities but risks. And as the risk goes up, but the reward goes up as well. So
yeah, and here, of course, you have tremendous hurdles to overcome if you want to go public. And someone told me, no matter what size of a company you are, it starts at a $2 million a year entry fee, basically, to even take your company public on an over-the-counter exchange. So how much are these exchanges sort of attracting companies to do that?
I don't think the barriers of entry, especially in a place like Poland or other emerging markets, are going to be that high. And I think that's an attractive way to fund smaller companies who don't have to hit those hurdles. The concern would be that it creates more of a horse betting environment or a sports gaming environment than, a true ability to understand the business as much, because so much due diligence has been done in the U.S.
And there's the risk of fraud, right? There's a risk of lower regulations means that you don't really know the quality of some of these companies.
Right, and if you take for granted the people who are promoting the company who also have an interest in selling the shares, can sort of serve as a way for them to sort of tell you what you want to hear. It gets you involved, and then they get paid, and then it's over.
Do you, from what your experience is, are there companies that's launched successfully on much smaller markets and then can make the jump into sort of the big boy exchanges?
So I actually haven't seen that from an emerging market perspective, but that's because it's new. And because of the success in the U.S. of, you start very small. I mean, every company is just, you're starting in a garage or with an idea, right. And it's just how can you get the initial capital? And every company we see, started somewhere. So it's all about how you can raise that initial capital and opening up the venues to allow that to happen. And I think this is a great opportunity in emerging markets as long as the due diligence is there.
Jay Morelock, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'm Andrew Schmertz. Thanks for watching Arise Exchange. We will see you back here tomorrow. Good evening.